Hello there and welcome back to the show, and today I'm going to be talking about AEW WrestleDream. This was the most recent AEW event, the second overall WrestleDream event. This took place live from Tacoma, Washington in the Tacoma Dome with an attendance of roughly 8,000 people. Let's talk about it. There were 4 matches that took place on 0 Hour. Who cares? I'm not going to go over them. The show started off with Hangman Adam Page versus Jay White. This was a rematch from the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament semifinals, where Hangman defeated Jay White after interference from Christian Cage. Jay White's been off of television for the last couple of months due to a foot injury. He made his return to television, immediately went after Hangman Adam Page. Hangman's been feuding with the Bullet Club Gold. He had that match with Juice Robinson, and that was the story leading into this match. This match was very good. This was a great opening match between 2 incredible professional wrestlers. The main story of this match was Hangman trying to hit the buckshot lariat, but Jay White consistently moving out of the way. Hangman hits a follow-away slam. Jay White moves out of the way, avoiding a buckshot lariat. White hits a DDT, then hits a German suplex. Page is trapped in a Tree of Woe position outside the ring. Jay White hits some chops on Hangman. Page hits a Death Valley driver on the apron, and then a powerbomb on the steel steps that looked vicious. Hangman was arguing with the referee during this match. He tried to use his belt to hit Jay White. On the ramp right now, while Hangman is arguing with the referee, Jay White takes control. He drops Hangman knee first down on the ramp. Jay White makes it back into the ring. Jay White hits a Uranagi for a 2 count. Blade Runner is countered into the Deadeye. Hangman goes to the apron to attempt the buckshot lariat. Jay White counters a buckshot lariat into the Blade Runner for the win. Jay White wins this match. Jay White winning this match made sense. This is his first major match back from injury, so you want to build up his momentum. However, Hangman Adam Page, he's had this massive wave of momentum since making his return to television, and after that win over Swerve Strickland at All Out, and for him to lose his next match on pay-per-view, I wasn't a big fan of that. However, Jay White needed a win. We'll see where both guys go moving forward. Perfect choice to open the show. One of the best matches of the night. I really enjoyed this. Up next, for the AEW Women's World Championship, Mariah May defending against Willow Nightingale. Willow Nightingale won a fatal 4-way match to earn this opportunity. This was a solid match between these 2 ladies. They both worked really well. Willow Nightingale hits a spinebuster on Mariah May. Nightingale has Mariah May trapped in an Indian deathlock, and then she rams Mariah's head into her own knee. That was one of the best spots of this match. They trade roll-ups for a bit. Mariah hits a Hurricane Rana, followed up by a running knee, and Storm Zero for the win. Mariah May wins this match. She retains. She is still the AEW Women's World Champion. That was the right call. Mariah May is not losing this championship anytime soon. This match was fine. Both these 2 ladies worked really well together, and this was a solid match. Up next, for the TNT Championship, Jack Perry defending against Katsuyori Shibata. So match started off, Jack Perry immediately went out of the ring. He tried not to get into a wrestling match with Shibata. Back in the ring, the 2 square up, and then Perry immediately goes back to the outside of the ring. The 2 of them exchange chops, and the fans really hate Jack Perry. They are very much behind Katsuyori Shibata for the majority of this match. So Shibata is sitting down in the ring and he dares Perry to kick him. He does, and Shibata immediately gets up, and Shibata delivers a suplex on Perry. Shibata hits another suplex, but Perry locks in the snare trap submission. Outside the ring, Perry hits a hanging DDT on Shibata. Back in the ring, a running knee is countered into a Death Valley driver by Shibata. And the closing sequence, Shibata locks in the sleeper hold on Jack Perry. He falls down to get more leverage on the submission, but his shoulders are down on the mat and the referee counts. And even though Shibata had the submission locked in because his shoulders were down, Jack Perry retains the TNT Championship. He wins this match. He beats Katsuyori Shibata. Post-match, Daniel Garcia comes out and he confronts Jack Perry. Garcia stated that he wants to be a champion in AEW, and he confronts Jack Perry, the current TNT champion. And then as they're staring down, MJF's music hit. Comes out to the ring, he confronts Daniel Garcia after the events of what happened at All Out. MJF has been off of television since All Out. The 2 of them stare down. Jack Perry, he hits Daniel Garcia in the back of the head with the TNT championship. Stares down MJF, leaves the ring. Then MJF attacks Daniel Garcia. He grabs the microphone, cuts a promo. Adam Cole's music hits, comes out, he runs to the ring. I'm assuming this means that Adam Cole is now cleared for in-ring competition. I'm assuming that his foot is completely healed. He is no longer injured and he is ready to compete. He runs to the ring, chases MJF out of the ring. He helps Daniel Garcia get back up, and that's it. The match between Jack Perry and Katsuyori Shibata was fine, nothing overly special. It was a fine, passable match. The real important stuff happened post-match with the returns of MJF and Adam Cole. MJF is great. Adam Cole, it's great to have Adam Cole back. However, I do have some questions about this. Going back to AEW World's End, December 2023, Samoa Joe defeated MJF and won the AEW World Championship. The Undisputed Kingdom was revealed as the people pulling the strings. Adam Cole, Wardlow, Roderick Strong, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett. Big reveal, the closing angle of AEW World's End. And then, double or nothing, Adam Cole comes out to cut a promo. He's confronted by MJF. MJF drops him with a pile driver and announces his mission statement. When that happened, MJF was clearly the face and Adam Cole was the heel. Now the roles are reversed, with Adam Cole being the face and MJF being the heel. But it doesn't make sense since MJF was the one who was betrayed. He was the one who had all the sympathy. And now, with the current landscape of AEW, MJF is the heel in the story. So that's one of the things that I wasn't really a fan of. Now MJF plays a better heel than face, and with his feud with Will Ospreay, he definitely had to be the heel going into that match. But this just feels too convoluted right now. One other thing, what does this mean for Undisputed Kingdom? Undisputed Kingdom has been irrelevant for almost the entirety of 2024. Wardlow has been missing. I cannot remember the last time he was featured prominently on AEW television. Roderick Strong has done nothing of value since dropping the International Championship to Will Ospreay. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett are just irrelevant. They are worthless as a tag team. So now this entire storyline feels convoluted and it feels like they're just doing this just to wrap up the storyline. I'll see how this plays out on television. However, I have a lot of questions coming out of this angle. My most anticipated match of the night, triple threat match for the AEW International Championship. Will Ospreay defending against Ricochet and Konosuke Takeshita. A match between Will Ospreay and Ricochet is something that everyone was looking forward to when Ricochet made his debut for AEW at All In. I thought that it was a mistake having it on the 5-year anniversary episode of AEW Dynamite. It felt too rushed. I felt that Ricochet should have won a couple of matches, build up his momentum over the span of a number of months, and then challenge Will Ospreay for the championship at World's End or Revolution. Really build up the feud. Having it for the sake of having it, to me, felt like a mistake. It felt too rushed. Now, the match itself ended in no contest thanks to interference from Konosuke Takeshita. Then it was revealed that he did it under orders of Don Callis. Don Callis is great. The man is a heat magnet, and the Don Callis family has seemingly been booked into oblivion. To me, this all felt rushed. Ospreay Ricochet was rushed. Beginning of the feud between Ospreay and Callis, that to me could have been done better, and I just wasn't a fan of how all of this came together. However, given the caliber of wrestlers that these three guys are, I knew that this match was going to deliver. This, from an in-ring perspective, no question. Match of the night. So, Ospreay and Ricochet team up against Takeshita and knock him to the outside. The two of them recreate their match from 2016. They do the double superhero landing pose. Konosuke Takeshita comes in, hits double kicks on both guys. On the outside, Takeshita hits a DDT on Ospreay, brings out a table, sets it up against the announce table. On the opposite side of the ring, Ricochet attempts to hit a Sasuke special on Takeshita, but Takeshita catches him. Then Ospreay hits a Sasuke special of his own, and Takeshita is knocked down. Ricochet blocks an Oscutter. Ospreay hits a running Spanish fly on Ricochet. Ricochet misses a 450. Will Ospreay hits a Styles Clash. Konosuke Takeshita makes the save, breaking it up. Ricochet does his handspring, countered into the Blue Thunder Bomb. That gets a 2 count. Ospreay hits a springboard forearm into Takeshita, then Ricochet hits a springboard 450 for a 2 count. That was a great sequence. Ospreay and Ricochet hit Poison Ranas. Takeshita hits a German suplex on Ospreay and Ricochet. Ricochet hits a shooting star press on Ospreay. Takeshita makes the save. On the apron, Takeshita and Ricochet are going back and forth. And then Takeshita hits a tombstone through the table that was set up earlier in the match. That was a great spot. Takeshita makes it back into the ring, but Will Ospreay hits Hidden Blade. Referee is counting 1, 2. Don Callis makes the save by pulling the referee out. Don Callis enters the ring. So Ospreay is arguing with Don Callis. He teases hitting Tiger Driver on him. A guy wearing a black hoodie comes into the ring, and it was clear as day that this was gonna be Kyle Fletcher. He hits Will Ospreay with a screwdriver. Don Callis looks very pleased at this. Ospreay can't believe what happened. Konosuke Takeshita, he hits a running knee. 1, 2, 3. Konosuke Takeshita defeats Will Ospreay. He is the new AEW International Champion. Long overdue, in my opinion. Konosuke Takeshita has been one of the most underrated guys on the AEW roster for a long time, and it's great to see him finally become a champion. Post-match, Kyle Fletcher hits the Tiger Driver 91 on Will Ospreay, and he leaves with Don Callis and Konosuke Takeshita. I was not a fan of that because I felt that there would have been more value with Kyle Fletcher with Will Ospreay. When Mark Davis comes back, the three of them as United Empire, they could have been a great force in the trios division. What I see happening is a rematch between Ospreay and Takeshita and a series of tag team matches between Ospreay Ricochet against the Don Callis family. There is story between Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, so we'll see what that leads to moving forward. This triple threat match for the International Championship was great. Best match of the night, one of the best matches of the year for AEW. This was an excellent match. Konosuke Takeshita winning the International Championship was a great moment. This was an excellent match. I absolutely loved this. There was a backstage segment with Orange Cassidy. Jerry Lynn looks at him and says he could be one of the best things in professional wrestling, something very special in the industry. And then Hook comes in, says he agreed. Looks like we could be seeing Orange Cassidy possibly in the main event scene, given the history that he has with Jon Moxley. Up next, the return of Swerve Strickland. Nana comes out to the ring, and then he introduces Swerve Strickland. Swerve comes out, states that he's still got neck issues following the events of the steel cage match, but he is medically cleared to compete. He is interrupted by MVP and Shelton Benjamin, and MVP is trying to bring Swerve into the fold, get him to join him and Benjamin. The two of them go back and forth. Swerve states that while Nana has his flaws, he's family and he doesn't abandon family. So a clear line in the sand has been drawn between Swerve Nana versus MVP Benjamin. This will lead to something moving forward, and I expect Bobby Lashley to make his AEW debut before the end of the year and have Swerve versus Lashley be one of the marquee feuds going into the end of this year, beginning of next year. I'm interested to see where that goes. Swerve, great to see him back. MVP, Shelton Benjamin, I'm looking forward to see what this new Hurt Business does in AEW. I really enjoyed this segment. This was very good. Up next, 2 out of 3 Falls match, Hologram versus the Beast Mortos. This match existed primarily to showcase what Hologram can do. He's been a regular feature on AEW Collision during this summer. He made his debut on Dynamite on the Wednesday prior to WrestleDream, and this is his pay-per-view debut. This was a fine 2 out of 3 Falls match. These two guys work really well together. Their styles complemented each other very well. I did not care about this match. To me, when this match was announced, it felt like Tony Khan had Universe mode on, and this was a random simulated match. So I really didn't care about this, but these two guys worked really well together. Hologram scored the first fall, Morto scored the second fall, and Hologram came back and won the match by winning the third fall. Hologram is impressive in the ring. I just wish there was an actual story to this match, but it was a fine match for what it was. Up next, Darby Allin versus Brody King. Darby Allin issued an open challenge. Brody King answered, and here we are. Darby Allin got a custom entrance. This was very much a strength versus speed dynamic. Darby Allin using his speed to try and avoid Brody King's big power moves. King charged at the corner, but Darby Allin moved out of the way. Outside the ring, Darby Allin got knocked down. Brody King picked up the steel steps. He placed the steps on Darby Allin, started climbing the steps and stomping on them. That that looked vicious. Brody King misses his corner cannonball, and Allen hits a couple of dives. He hits a coffin drop on the floor. Allen hits his code red, that gets a 2 count. Allen has a sleeper locked in on Brody King. Brody King hits a release German suplex on Darby Allin. Closing sequence of this match, Brody King is laid out on the steel steps. Darby Allin hits a coffin drop to the outside on Brody King, who's laid out on the steel steps. Back in the ring, Darby Allin hits another coffin drop. 1, 2, 3. Darby Allin wins. He defeats Brody King. Post-match, the two of them shake hands, a show of respect. And I really enjoyed this match. I thought the dynamic between King and Allin played out very well. This was a really good match. Some very nice back and forth, some incredible spots. And I really enjoyed this match. This was very good. Tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Young Bucks defending against Private Party. They recapped what happened in 2019, the Young Bucks losing to Private Party in the Tag Team Championship tournament. There was a brawl before this match started. They brawled all the way up to the stage. Mark Quinn hit a dive on the Young Bucks. That was an impressive moment. They continue brawling onto the floor. This continued for a while. The Bucks come back with a super kick. Private Party go for Silly String, but it's broken up by Nick Jackson. The Young Bucks go for the TK driver, but it's broken up. The Young Bucks go for more bang for your buck, but it's countered into gin and juice by Private Party. Private Party then hits their own version of more bang for your buck. The Young Bucks then hit an EVP trigger. Closing sequence of this match saw the Young Bucks hit TK driver on Mark Quinn for the win. 1, 2, 3. The Young Bucks retain the Tag Team Championship post-match. The crowd is embracing Private Party. This was a very good match. This was the best that Private Party has looked in a long time. These two teams played off of each other very well. There was a great dynamic, some really good back and forth. There were some impressive spots. Young Bucks win, and we'll see where both teams go moving forward. This was a solid match. Semi-main event for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Mark Briscoe defending against Chris Jericho. Match started off, Mark Briscoe hits his running elbow drop from the apron onto the floor on Chris Jericho. That looked really good. He sets up a chair for his running flip dive. He's able to take out Jericho and Big Bill. Big Bill tries to get involved, but then Orange Cassidy comes out to make the save. He hits 3 consecutive orange punches. Mark Briscoe hits a Death Valley driver. Jericho rolls onto the apron. Jericho locks in the walls of Jericho. Brian Keith then comes out to make the assist for Chris Jericho. Rocky Romero comes out to prevent that from happening. Mark Briscoe hits a Froggy Bow and a J Driller and retains the Ring of Honor World Championship. This was a fine match. This was actually one of Chris Jericho's better pay-per-view matches for AEW in 2024. I thought this was a perfectly solid match. Main event for the AEW World Championship, Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley defeated Darby Allin at Grand Slam to gain his World Championship match, and the Blackpool Combat Club turned on Bryan Danielson at All Out, and that was the story leading into this match. Match started off much like the Tag Team Championship match, a brawl on the outside. Bryan Danielson was making his entrance to Final Countdown. Jon Moxley attacked him. They brawl on the outside while Final Countdown is still playing on the PA system. Danielson hits a running dropkick. Then Jon Moxley attempts to choke him out with a camera cable. Back in the ring, match officially starts. Pretty early on, Bryan Danielson hits a Busaiko knee for a 2 count right at the start of this match. On the announce table, now Jon Moxley hits a pile driver onto Bryan Danielson. Moxley continues to try and attempt to choke Bryan Danielson. Marina Shafir gets involved. She actually had a lot of involvement in the early ongoing of this match, attacking Bryan Danielson. Marina Shafir rips out the padding on the outside. Moxley attempts to hit a pile driver, but Bryan Danielson counters it. Danielson hits a German suplex. Then Moxley hits a stomp and a bulldog choke. They go back and forth. The crowd is very much behind Bryan Danielson, being that we're in his home state. A very negative reception to Jon Moxley. So Marina Shafir causes a distraction, allowing Jon Moxley to hit his running cutter. The referee catches Marina Shafir and he ejects her from the ringside area. She is sent backstage. Bryan Danielson hits another running knee that gives him a 2 count. He locks in the label lock. Moxley reaches the rope, causing the hold to be broken up. On the outside, Jon Moxley counters a suicide dive into the Death Rider onto the exposed concrete. That looked ridiculously painful. In the ring, Jon Moxley has a choke locked in on Bryan Danielson. That is countered. Danielson hits a running knee for another 2 count. Moxley comes back with a lariat and a Death Rider and a pile driver. And finally, he locks in the choke. Bryan Danielson passes out. Jon Moxley is the new AEW World Champion. Blackpool Combat Club comes out. Jon Moxley hands Claudio the AEW World Championship. He locks it into a black duffel bag. Marina Shafir hands Moxley a plastic bag to choke out Bryan Danielson. Darby Allin and Wheeler Yuta come out to make the save, but then Wheeler Yuta hits a running knee on Darby Allin. He looks conflicted. Moxley hands him the plastic bag, and Wheeler Yuta chokes out Bryan Danielson while Darby Allin is being taped to the ropes. The commentary team is really selling this, that this could affect not just Bryan Danielson's career, but his life after wrestling. The commentary team, especially Excalibur, did a great job selling this post-match beatdown. And as Bryan Danielson is being choked out, Jeff Jarrett and Private Party come out to try and make the save, and then the entire locker room, security, everyone comes out. Orange Cassidy, Adam Cole, a lot of guys were there to come and chase out Blackpool Combat Club. In the end, Bryan Danielson was stretchered out of the Tacoma Dome. The look on the wrestlers' faces, Darby Allin was visibly in tears while all of this is happening. This not only marked the end of WrestleDream, but also the end of Bryan Danielson's full-time wrestling career. Bryan Danielson lost the AEW World Championship to Jon Moxley. He is now no longer a full-time wrestler. The storyline with Jon Moxley and the Blackpool Combat Club, I'm very interested to see where this goes. Matter of fact, I was honestly surprised that Shane McMahon did not show up and make his AEW debut following this. I thought this would have been the perfect opportunity for Shane McMahon to come out and make his debut. I mentioned Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy with the backstage segment earlier. I could see Darby and Cassidy as challengers for Moxley and now his 4th AEW World Championship reign. With the AEW World Championship being put into the black duffel bag, I hope we don't get another custom championship. So I'm hoping this just means that the storyline being that no one on this roster is worthy to even see the AEW World Championship. I hope that's the story they go with, because we do not need another custom championship on television. This match between Moxley and Danielson was very good, and the storyline sold itself, and the emotion from Danielson and the crowd and the commentary team, everything worked really well together to sell the emotion of this match, this being the final match of Bryan Danielson as a full-time professional wrestler. The ending played out really well, and I'm interested to see where this goes. And that was AEW WrestleDream. Overall, I definitely felt that this year's WrestleDream was weaker than last year's WrestleDream. I thought last year WrestleDream was one of the better shows of the year. This year, it was also a very good show. There were really good matches, and I enjoyed WrestleDream for the most part. I thought this was very good, and I'm looking forward to see where a lot of these AEW storylines go moving forward. In any case, that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. You can follow me on Instagram at Said_2000, and I'll catch you on the next one. Till then, take care.